Today's video has been made possible thanks to Displate. More about that in just a moment. It's no secret that, lately, the People's Republic of China is not exactly the most popular country in the world. Episodes like the coronavirus, the assault on Hong Kong, the constant threats against Taiwan, or the issues with loans to poor countries have put China squarely at the top of the list of the most disliked countries. And that's not all. To top it all off, a new policy is slowly but surely contributing to crushing its popularity abroad. I'm referring to the new diplomacy established by Xi Jinping. It's a much harsher and belligerent type of diplomacy that has been unofficially baptized as wolf warrior diplomacy, and one that many analysts identify basically as a strategy of blackmail and coercion. It's a strategy that, to tell the truth, with the data in hand, does not seem to be particularly effective, at least not in terms of the country's popularity in the rest of the world. Take a look at this chart. In just 5 years, between the spring of 2015 and the summer of 2020, the opinion in regards to China has plummeted in many of the world's leading economies. It's gone from being a trending country to being viewed with many misgivings, something that in a way has to do with the very manner in which China is relating to the rest of the world. And so in this video, we will take a closer look at the so-called wolf warrior diplomacy. We will examine the new way in which China has decided to punish any adversary that crosses its path.
China sharpens its teeth.
It seems, VisualPolitik viewers, that the moderate China, the China of measured words and calm actions, has completely disappeared. That quiet China that Deng Xiaoping wanted so much has ceased to exist. Xi Jinping has put an end to it. Now it is the era of the warrior wolves. You see, this so-called wolf warrior diplomacy is not just a change of foreign policy, but a change of concept and vision of China's role in the world, and how Beijing wants to assert its growing economic and military presence. It's something like, we're here, and we are going to take our role seriously. So simple, yet so complex. But what exactly does this type of diplomacy consist of? How is it carried out? And what changes has it brought about? Well, one of the most important changes has been the military approach. To be a wolf warrior, you have to be able to instill fear. And that's exactly what China has done with its enhanced military capabilities and its increasing level of belligerence in the region. We tell you all about it in a video that I'll link for you in the description. However, the military arena is not the only one that has undergone changes. China's new style of diplomacy goes way beyond military power. Wolf warrior diplomacy is an integral vision, and the first line of battle is precisely the diplomatic staff. A good proportion of the staff of Chinese embassies and consulates now has the specific mission of feeding disinformation, fabricating fake news, or seeking out and supporting like-minded journalists and communicators. The red line has shifted. It is no longer a matter of fine-tuning, but of exercising clear activism, whatever the cost. You could say that Chinese diplomacy has discovered social media.
Army of fake fans boost China's messaging on Twitter.
Of course, this happens in social media and also beyond. But of course, it is only the tip of the iceberg. One more tool in a strategy that features political and economic punishments as its key element. Yes, that's right. Xi Jinping has declared that China has to punish its adversaries. Pay attention, because with what we are going to now tell you, you will be able to understand a significant chunk of current affairs. But before we continue, let's talk about today's sponsor, Displate. Displate creates displates, which are one-of-a-kind metal posters designed to capture your unique passions. They've created a 21st century canvas that's sturdy, magnet-mounted, and durable enough to withstand a lifetime of intense staring. Displate works with amazing brands such as Star Wars, Marvel, DC, and so many more. But they also have works from great and successful artists, like the ones that my colleagues behind the camera have chosen for me. And I have to say, I am actually more than happy with their picks. Particularly this one here, which I think looks so great. One of our team is very into American American cars and Asia-related content, and I bet this, a Chevrolet Caprice being driven on a Japanese highway, it must have blown his mind. Or this Spain one here, there's a quiet nudge in this. Did you know that part of our team is actually based there? I definitely owe them a visit, and I think they are trying to remind me, hey Josh, don't forget that you kind of have to come and visit us soon. And they're right, we have to get on that as soon as possible. Now, no matter what your passions are, there's a display for you. With over 40,000 artists, there are over 1 million designs available. What's more, they are crazy durable. And they make awesome noises. They're super easy to mount and rearrange, so there's no need for power tools, and you can move them between rooms and houses and countries, and they will still look great. Ta-da! Click on the link in the description below to customize, collect, and curate your favorite designs. Even better, there's a special offer for our VisualPolitik community. 23% off when buying 1 or 2 designs, and 27% off if you buy 3 or more. When you follow the link, this exclusive discount is automatically applied to your shopping basket. They sent me a third one. This is gonna go at home. And now, let's continue with today's video.
Crossing the lane with Beijing comes at a price.
Political and economic punishment over territorial control. While Russia, the United States, France, and the United Kingdom have been preoccupied with territorial control and military influence for decades, China is focusing all its efforts on using its 2 great competitive advantages: its position as the world's factory and its enormous population. To find out how the Asian giant is doing this, we only have to look at the cases of South Korea, Australia, and Lithuania. 3 very different and very geographically diverse countries, which nevertheless have one thing in common. They have experienced firsthand what it means to feel the wrath of Xi Jinping. In 2017, for example, the South Korean government decided to authorize the installation of the US THAAD anti-missile system on its territory, something that China opposed head-on from the outset. According to Beijing, powerful US radars could be used to track China's military movements within its own country. However, at the time, tensions in South Korea were running high due to the constant intercontinental missile tests being carried out by North Korea. So, despite fierce Chinese opposition, Seoul ended up giving the go-ahead for the deployment of THAAD. The result? The Chinese government promoted a savage economic boycott campaign against South Korean companies. The first effect was the halting of Chinese tourism, which plummeted by 50% and cost South Korean companies multi-million-dollar losses. Then came the direct boycott of companies, as happened with the Lotte Group, the South Korean business group that owned the golf course where THAAD was installed. Well, this group had a major hypermarket business in China under the Lotmart brand, which people suddenly stopped going to. Let's just say that the Chinese government made sure that it was frowned upon to shop in their stores. And of course, any license to open new stores was also frozen. The company ended up having to announce its complete exit from China. Likewise, millions of Chinese stopped buying vehicles made by Hyundai and Kia, Samsung cell phones and appliances, and so on. All of this until 2019, 2 years after the start of the Chinese sanctions, when Beijing decided it had had enough and put the matter to rest. However, other countries have not been so lucky. Let's take a look, for example, at the case of Australia. You see, despite its close alliance with the United States, Australia is an important trading partner for China, supplying the Asian giant with all the coal, iron, and gas that its industry needs, and also of a huge variety of agri-food products. In fact, between the years 2009 and 2019, Australian exports to China tripled to over $110 billion. It all came to a head in 2020, when the Australian government called for an independent international investigation into the origins of the SARS coronavirus 2 pandemic. That was a real turning point. Barely a week after the Australian request, the Chinese ambassador in Canberra, Chen Jingyi, threatened an economic boycott. This, of course, was not long in coming. For example, they progressively reduced imports of Australian coal to 0 and introduced a slew of tariffs on many of the imports that China bought from Australia. Barley, meat, wine, copper, wood. The punishment was considerable. But do you know what? It backfired on the Chinese. Canberra not only didn't budge, it completely changed its foreign policy. Does AUKUS, the new alliance between Australia, the United States, and the United Kingdom, ring a bell? Sure it does. We covered it recently, right here on VisualPolitik. Well, that agreement had a lot to do with the story we are telling you now. As you know, there are only so many coincidences.
Australia's decades-long balancing act between the US and China is over. It has chose Washington. Australia to get the first of its nuclear submarines 5 years ahead of schedule as America fast-tracks the $90 billion project in face of rising tensions with China.
Incidentally, the wolf warrior strategy in the case of South Korea did not do much good either. The THAAD continued to be deployed despite the boycott. If anything, becoming the bully of the class does not seem to be doing China any good. In fact, Xi Jinping's country is going through its worst diplomatic period since the turn of the century. But we're not done yet. The latest example of these harassment and punishment campaigns can be found in none other than a European Union country, Lithuania. Concerned about China's growing political meddling, Lithuania decided to withdraw from the 17+1 group, a Beijing initiative that sought to bring together all the countries of Central and Eastern Europe. Beijing was not amused, but the final straw was the authorization given by Vilnius to Taiwan to open a representative office in the Lithuanian capital, and to top it all off, under its own name. That is to say, the Taiwan Representative Office instead of the Taipei Representative Office, which is the more usual manner. From that moment on, the punishment began. The Chinese government eliminated Lithuania as an origin option in customs clearance, which means that companies from this small Baltic republic cannot export their products directly to the Asian giant. And that's not all. The Chinese government is also pressuring European countries that manufacture in China to stop using components from the Baltic country. This has been the case, for example, with German automotive components manufacturer Continental.
Lithuanian exports nearly obliterated from China market amid Taiwan row. Chinese customs data gives first glimpse of the scale of unofficial blockade, with 91.4% drop in shipments from the Baltic state in December.
Of course, as we have seen in the previous cases, the punishment does not seem to have helped much. Lithuania has continued to strengthen its ties with Taiwan, and now the European Union is considering retaliating.
EU devises new measures against economic coercion. The European Commission no longer wants to put up with economic blackmail such as that exerted by China. France eyes quick anti-China action to bail out Lithuania in trade war.
We have spoken at length about this issue in the Weekly Snapshot, the newsletter for those of you who support us on Patreon. Anyway, so far it seems that wolf warrior diplomacy is not reaping many successes. It did not work in South Korea, it did not work in Australia, and it's not working in Lithuania, nor in Taiwan itself, when in 2016, China started a boycott against tourism and student exchanges following Tsai Ing-wen's first victory, and it can be said to have worked in Canada with the Meng Wanzhou case. Far from it. China's diplomatic position today seems much more flimsy and exposed than it was a few years ago. In Beijing, they seem not to understand that sometimes dialogue, calm negotiation, and gestures of goodwill get better results than force, blackmail, and coercion. But now it's your turn. What do you think of China's wolf warrior diplomacy? How should the countries concerned deal with it? What should the major international powers do? Leave us your opinion below in the comments, and as always, if you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to keep up to date with all the upcoming news. Once again, thank you all very much for watching, all the best, and see you next time.